Hey guys, it's Amanda, and today I want to discuss the rise of a peculiar occupation, the stay-at-home girlfriend. To the uninitiated, stay-at-home girlfriend sounds like a misnomer. We're familiar with stay-at-home moms, but stay-at-home girlfriends? Who or what is there to stay home with? Save for the occasional lapdog, the stay-at-home girlfriend is childless. She lives with a boyfriend who apparently foots the bill for primary living expenses like rent, utilities, and groceries. In exchange, the stay-at-home girlfriend opts out of the traditional labor force and takes on domestic tasks like cooking and cleaning. Kendall Kay, a 25-year-old stay-at-home girlfriend, is the face of this trend.
This is what my mornings look like as a 25-year-old stay-at-home girlfriend.
Though the stay-at-home girlfriend has been compared to the alt-right's trad wife, she is distinctly lacking its political, preachy, and evangelistic fervor.
I made Luke his latte. I make him an iced latte with cinnamon and maple syrup and homemade almond milk.
Stay-at-home girlfriend blogs are relatively innocuous and more than anything resemble a day of self-care. She's making matcha, drinking other green beverages, wearing Lululemon, ice rolling her face, going to Pilates in the middle of the day, and making avocado toast or some other health-conscious food topped with seasonal berries.
Then I did my very long skincare routine. It's like 20 minutes long, and ice rolled. Then I did my 5-minute journal and went on a walk on the beach to get a coffee with Luke. And then I put my workout clothes on, did a workout at the gym.
Of course, she also makes her boyfriend coffee, prepares his meals, and is responsible for general household chores. This is work, it's just not compensated with a wage, and it allows her boyfriend to do his job and even excel at it, since he doesn't have to worry about that pesky reproductive labor. But the stay-at-home girlfriend's days lacked the stress and stickiness inextricable from life as a stay-at-home mom. Caring for a grown man who works 8 hours a day is very different from caring for children who need constant attention. Stay-at-home girlfriend content is indistinguishable, or at most a derivative of other TikTok trends like the soft life.
Hi ladies, this is my soft life morning routine.
Divine femininity.
Here's some ways on how to activate your divine feminine energy.
And that girl.
Welcome to a day in the life of that girl.
In fact, Kendall Kay's TikTok bio reads, self-care, soft life, feminine energy. In a visual medium, these are all ostensibly the same thing, aspirational lifestyle content. And the common ethos behind these trends is the desire to live a life free of toil. Maybe Kim Kardashian was unwittingly onto something when she said,
"Get your fucking ass up and work. It seems like nobody wants to work these days."
There's been a lot of concerns surrounding the stay-at-home girlfriend's lifestyle, ranging from this seems painfully boring to what happens when they break up and she has a huge gap in her resume and no money of her own. But in today's video, I'm focusing more on how we got to the point where stay-at-home girlfriend has become a genuine content niche and aspiration. So let's dive in. The rise of the stay-at-home girlfriend and her contemporaries can be traced back to the start of the pandemic, which was somehow 3 years ago. In 2020, millennials and Zoomers grew skeptical at the idea that one's happiness or purpose should be driven by her career. When people had nothing else to do but sit at home and reflect, they realized just how burnt out they'd become from years of nonstop grinding at the altar of hustle culture. The notion, "I don't dream of labor," started out as a tweet, but snowballed into a collective reckoning by young people who realized romanticizing work, by way of dream jobs, was simply a boomer-fueled bootstrapism. "I don't dream of labor" was about working to live instead of living to work, treating a job as a means to an end, not as your life. It wasn't about being idle or lazy. It meant to challenge the idea that the most important thing in your life should be your career, and pointed out the absurdity in asking, what's your dream job? If you could dream of doing anything, why would you limit yourself to wage labor? The message ignited a healthy suspicion of capitalistic ideals and a longing for recovery from burnout. So I don't think it's a coincidence that when the "I don't dream of labor" trend took off, we also saw cottagecore entering the cultural zeitgeist. Cottagecore is an aesthetic and lifestyle movement characterized by a romanticized view of rural life with an emphasis on traditional crafts, nature, and a simpler way of living. The aesthetic often includes imagery associated with the countryside, such as flowers, fruits, and animals, as well as vintage or handmade clothing and home decor. The lifestyle encourages activities like gardening, cooking, and sewing. It alludes to a yearning for traditional values and injection of modern hustle culture. When I picture a place free of Slack notifications and the endless scroll, a bucolic cottage in a geographically vague countryside comes to mind. Cottagecore idealized a life of picking berries and baking bread, a far-off escapist fantasy where there was no work, just self-sustenance. Sound familiar? The stay-at-home girlfriend lifestyle isn't that far off from the cottagecore one that was widely romanticized in 2020. At the same time, we saw the demise of one of hustle culture's most valued henchmen, the girl boss. The girl boss era emerged in the early 2010s and was characterized by a generation of plucky young women who shattered glass ceilings and pulled other ladies up with them. Their companies were by women, for women, their products sleek and chic, and most importantly, they made you feel empowered. Girl boss quickly became synonymous with entrepreneur, and the most notable girl bosses of the time were the faces of their brands. They knew how to package themselves just as well as what they sold. The girl boss filled in the gap between the ditzy beauty queen, the frumpy nerd, and the frigid career woman. She was stylish, smart, and successful all at the same time. So where did she go wrong? The cracks in the girl boss empire began to crumble in 2020 when a few key figures were knocked from their thrones in a wave of bad press. It started with Steph Curry, the co-founder and CEO of luggage company Away, who stepped down after the toxic work environment she cultivated was exposed. Soon after, other distinguished girl bosses became disparaged in light of their leadership practices and fell like dominoes. Founders Leandro Medine of Man Repeller, Yael Alfalo of Reformation, and Audrey Gelman of The Wing all stepped down in 2020. In the rubble, many people realized that girl boss culture wasn't nearly as revolutionary as it seemed to be. Its claims of inclusivity were limited to upper middle class white women, and its assertions of female empowerment seemed like tenets of hustle culture painted millennial pink. Instead of a compliment, girl boss quickly became a meme. Alex Abad-Santo writes for Vox, girl boss shifted culturally from a noun to a verb, one that describes the sinister process of capitalist success and hollow female empowerment. On TikTok and Twitter, girl boss the verb became yoked to gaslight and gatekeep to create a kind of live, laugh, love of toxic, usually white, feminism. And soon after the height of gatekeep, gaslight, girl boss memes, we saw the rise of girl union and girl rest memes. The girl boss narrative, and every narrative propped up by the Protestant work ethic, told us that if you work hard, you'll be rewarded with a great life. But in this day and age, working just as much and just as hard as previous generations gets you a lot less. For many millennials and Gen Zers, the American dream of buying a home with a white picket fence seems laughably out of reach. The convergence of the pandemic, I Don't Dream of Labor, rise of cottagecore, and fall of the girl boss has brought us to a point where the idea of the stay-at-home girlfriend lifestyle actually sounds very attractive. Dreams of climbing up the corporate ladder have been replaced with visions of the ability to opt out of the traditional workforce altogether. Besides extremely wealthy people who can live off their investments, stay-at-home girlfriends are one of the few examples of people who can live an ostensibly comfortable life without working. Then again, you could argue that these stay-at-home girlfriends, at least the ones documenting their lives, are content creators. Kendall K, the quintessential stay-at-home girlfriend, has over 500,000 followers on TikTok and has posted paid partnerships on her account. I'm not sure if she was a lifestyle influencer before her stay-at-home girlfriend videos went viral, but now she's making some money from filming her life. So can we really say she doesn't work if she's essentially a lifestyle influencer? I think for lifestyle influencers in general, not just stay-at-home girlfriends, the is this real work debate has always been a point of contention. A lifestyle influencer is someone who simply documents their daily life, whether it's via vlogs or TikToks or Instagram. That is the work of their job. Of course, editing is involved too, but thanks to the short form nature of TikTok, for example, it doesn't take nearly as much time and effort as a long form platform like YouTube. Being a lifestyle influencer, especially on TikTok, has abstracted one's pay from her labor. One day you're posting your life for fun, the next you go viral, and suddenly you've gained thousands or maybe even millions of followers in just a few weeks. The swift socioeconomic mobility you can experience is tantamount to winning the lottery. If people like your personality and aesthetic, you can make a bunch of money for ostensibly being yourself. This is to say that the stay-at-home girlfriend is simply a variant of the lifestyle influencer, so why has she received so much backlash for her title? Aside from concern for her financial independence, perhaps it's because the stay-at-home girlfriend embraces a leisurely pace of life. Kelsey Weekman of BuzzFeed News writes, "People who escape the grind of our normalized hustle culture often draw disdain. When Daisy Beaton tweeted that she spends 1 hour each morning just drinking coffee and talking with her husband, she was dragged to hell and back by Twitter users offended by her failure to consider their misery. The women in tech who shared videos of what a day in their lives looks like were met with ridicule when they omitted the hours spent staring at a computer in favor of the moments making green juice. Both parties were still working, but the hustle wasn't the highlight of their day." Even though hustle culture seems less pervasive than it was in the late 2010s, some aspects of it are still hard to escape. For example, performative busyness. The idea that you should let everyone know how much or how hard you work out of fear of being perceived as lazy or undeserving. I actively try to avoid doing this because it spreads like a disease. It breeds in other people a sense that they're doing something wrong if they too aren't working around the clock. The stay-at-home girlfriend is far from revolutionary. She lives a privileged life that she has been able to profit from thanks to this trend. But the retaliation against her lack of ambition reminds us that our culture has a narrow view of what is valuable. The stay-at-home girlfriend has made a choice to opt out of the workforce. Shouldn't we respect that? And I don't mean that in a choice feminist, any choice a woman makes for herself is empowering way. I mean it in the sense that one's value shouldn't be tied to her career or how much money she makes. There are many people for whom the stay-at-home girlfriend existence is a nightmare, but there's a good chunk who view it as aspirational. The girls who want to rest. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I would love to hear your thoughts on the stay-at-home girlfriend trend below, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!